Hi, this is a build guide for my Lancing Steel Champion build in the Ultimatum League, the 3.14 expansion of Path of Exile. I'm gonna go over the gear and the skill, of course, the links, and the passive trio of this character. So, the skill that we are using is Lancing Steel. It's one of the steel skills along with Splitting and Shattering Steel. Lancing Steel, in difference to the others, has the best single target, while Shattering Steel has the best balance between clear and single target. But if you get enough good gear and chain support and whatever, it can work as a clear skill as well. And of course for bossing. I have a link to Awaken Brutality. You can use Brutality, the regular version, if you don't have it. Maim support, Impale of course, because we are only physical based, and Impale best, that's why we are a champion as well. Vicious Proj, the Awakened version, of course you can use the regular version of it if you don't have it. Awakened Chain that I sub out for slower Proj on single target. That's the main links. I tried out other links to see if they were better for DPS or whatever, and they didn't seem to be better. In the POV, I didn't get more DPS, and the gameplay itself, it didn't feel too much great to compare to slower Proj. So that's it. The aura setup that I have it's Pride, Herald of Purity, Precision, Vitality, and War Banner. Pride and Herald of Purity and War Banner I use damage for pure damage. Herald of Purity doesn't give a big boost to damage, only 13% more, but it's the best thing we can do. War Banner gives more physical damage to nearby enemies, accuracy that I need. Pride, of course, the best for physical builds. Physical, there are not damage over time builds. Also Precision for capping out my accuracy and critical strike chance. I have Anomalous to more reservation, but I mean reduce the reservation, but you don't need it. It just makes me have a bigger mana pool. Also Vitality. Vitality is used for my Watcher's Eye mod, and all linked to Enlighten level 4, so I can have more mana. Also because I have my aura setup here in my weapon. If I weapon swap, they will deactivate. But since I have them in the exact same links in this weapon right here, they don't deactivate. So if you do the same as me and put them in here, you need to have them on your offhand as well. Next up, my movement skill is Lip Slam, Calling Strike, faster attacks, along with side with my Ancestral Protector. I have a Phantasmal version of these ones because this gives me more buff effect, and Lip Slam more attack speed, faster attacks to move around quicker, and Calling Strike to cool enemies below 10% health. That's linked to my movement skill to cool myself or my Phantasmal my Ancestral Protector. Next up, I have Enduring Cry with Anomalous, Second Wind, I'm sorry. That just gives me life regeneration and endurance charge generation as well. I will show you that later, because with Adrenaline it works really well to get me back up to full life. I also have Val Haste linked to increased duration, used for some more boss DPS. I have the last one, my curse is I'm using Sniper's Mark. I'm using Sniper's Mark because it gives you a really big boost to increase damage taken on 2 enemies cursed. So this is the best curse you can get. Vulnerability, Assassin's Mark, they aren't as great as this one. This one really gives you a big DPS boost. As you can see, 41 increase percent damage taken. And with level 4 enhance, I get 47%. So it's really nice. Also, Flask charges, that's just a bonus. I mainly use this for the damage. Also, I got Anomalous Bloodrage. Anomalous Bloodrage gives you a frenzy charge generation on bosses, so that's why I'm using the Anomalous version. Otherwise, you can use the regular version and you will have more attack speed. Also, this of course gives me frenzy charges on maps and bosses. Next up, the Flasks. I have an instant life flask with bleed and corrupting blood removal. Dying Sun for more projectiles. Diamond Flask because I'm a crit based build. Bottle Faith because the best flask in the game, especially for crit based characters. a well-rolled one, by the way, almost perfect crit and max increased damage taken. You gotta go for those ones for the big DPS. And to round those out, I have a Onslaught Flask with Prison Minute. This is warding. In the POV, it's a crit one. You can use one of both. I will recommend just sticking with the warding one. In the POV, the DPS shows with the crit one, but you don't really need it. It's just sometimes for when I really wanna have a lot of DPS, but I regularly use the first immunity one because I do some invitations, maybe invitations with courses, so I want immunity. Now over the gear, my weapon is Paradoxica. It's the best weapon in this build. Overall, unless you have a mirror tier sword, this will outclass it, especially if you stack flat fist damage as I am doing right here. Also Savior, of course, the best other sword for this build. You get 2 Mirage Clones with each half your damage, so you get 2 times damage. You get better clear, better single target, everything. So this is the best one. Go for the max attack speed and critical strike chance. Yeah, the physical damage of this weapon doesn't really matter because it's just a static, so you don't really need the damage in here. Also, I have all my jewelry is simple. It does not need to be influenced. You just need a flat fist, life, and resist. And also in my amulet I have a crit multi. I have Anointed Tenacity because I have like 200 plus increased maximum life from my tree, and so this is the best damage one as well as defensive. Defensively is good because it gives me more HP. We are stacking a lot of HP to be able to tank some boss hits. That's why I have 7.7k life, which is a lot. You can tank most of the stuff in the game with that. My ring, same story, flat fist, life, resists. I have a strength in here because this is influenced, but I don't have any influence modifiers. I just have it because I bought it like this, and I Leo Slam the strength, which is good because it gives me life and damage because I am using Iron Grip, and Iron Grip makes this bonus to melee physical damage applied to projectile attack damage as well. The other ring, the same stuff, life, flat fist, resistances. I have Chaos Rest in this one. I will recommend you to get as well because I don't have that much Chaos Rest. I only have 22%. If you can get capped Chaos Rest, that will be great for the fear fight when Chayula attacks you. Also, both of these are steel rings because of the same reason you need the flat fist. Next up, Rislatha's Coil. Rislatha's Coil is the best in slot. There is no other belt that will give you as much damage as this one. Also, I got it with a life corruption, which is always nice because we wanna have a lot of life. In fact, if I take this out, I lose more than 500 health, HP, so you want this one. This is the best in slot. You don't need the corruption, you just need one with the maximum more attack damage and the less damage that you can get. I mean the least reduction. 4 with the Catalyst, so you have 48, 36. Important stats, you can get flat face here as well, strength and max life. Those rolls are really bad for me, but I wanted the life, so I sacrificed a little bit more damage for a little bit of life. Now for the influence stuff, just a pair of typical Tailwind elusive boots with a lot of life, and Iceling of Veil of Strength and Intelligence. I wanted the Resistant Chaos Rest, but I didn't get it, so I just stuck with this. It has a lot of life. You want life and just Tailwind. You don't really need the elusive, but if you want, you can have it. Next up, my gloves. This has the implicit of increased projectile attack damage. You want the physical damage per impale on an enemy, because you are stacking physical damage, as well as the +1 frenzy charges, or you can use the Warlord mode projectile attack damage. That is nice as well. And to round those out, I have some res as well, attack speed, and life crafted. My chest is just a typical crit chest. Attacks have critical strike chance and power charge and crit, as well as all the prefixes are just life. You want the most life that you can have. So I have increased life from Iceling, and crafted life, as well as an enchant. Now, the helmet is kind of a really important piece in your build because you really care about every mod in here, because you get the elevated elder for increased nearby enemies think increased physical damage. You want the increased fortify effect on Crusader. You want the implicit from this Penitent Mask that gives you more fortify effect. And you also want the enchantment Lancing Steel's Fire additional projectile. I didn't mention it before, but you have steel charts with steel skills. So if you have, you always wanna be using your maximum steel charts, because if Lancing Steel, for every steel chart that it consumes, it gives you 50% more projectiles. So you will consume 4 at any given time when you attack. So you always want to be maxed. You get steel charts with Call of Steel. So if you consume 4 steel charts, you get 200% increased projectiles. So if you have Dying Sun, as well as the Lancing Steel fires an additional projectile, Lancing Steel itself, you can see you get a lot of projectiles. In fact, you fire 21 projectiles with everything up. So it's really strong. You really want each one of those mods, as well as a lot of life. I got more than 100 life. That's just great. And as well, I render out with the physical damage taken from hits taken as fire damage, because as you can see, I am crushed because of the implicit. It reduces my physical damage reduction, but physical damage reduction can go below 0, so it seems kind of a bad drawback, but you don't really need it. You don't really get affected by it. The only thing you gotta be careful about is physical damage over times, like the Cortex ones. That's about the gear. Now let's check the passive tree out. My Ascendancy, of course, I'm a champion. I get all the Fortify effect, stun immunity, and perma Fortify. Some Fortify effect on this little node here. I get a Master of Metal for extra impale, as well as physical damage per impale on enemy, which complements really well with the gloves mod. You get a lot of physical damage per impale on enemy. And to round those out, I have First to Strike, Last to Fall for Intimidate, and as well as Adrenaline, which I proc with a Herald of Fudge setup on my offhand. Herald of Fudge linked to Arrogance. So I proc my Herald of Fudge, I get to more life, and after that Life Flask and Enduring Cry, I'm back up to full. That gives me a lot of damage and some, of course, speed and some physical mitigation, which we kind of don't care about, but we have it, so it's nice. So that's about the Ascendancy. The skill tree, in general, I follow down the Grounds skill tree from his build guide in the Ritual League for the Lancing Steel Champion. I made this build in the Ritual League as well, and it worked great. Now in the Ultimatum League, it's better though. So my Watcher's Eye is a really good offensively and defensively one. So I have Impale to inflict last 2 additional hits with Pride. That's the best one that you can get. You always want that one. Any other thing that you can get is a bonus, but you gotta go for that one. That's the most important one that you can have, because it just gives you an insane amount of damage. Also, I have the 30 life cannon hit with Vitality. That just keeps you alive throughout maps. You don't need almost anything, just this. Having this, you don't even really need Leech. I have Leech as well because of where I go in the passive tree, but with life cannon hit, you're good. You can get more on your rings as well, but I didn't want to, because I was sacrificing the craft, life, or the flat fist, so I didn't get it. Plus, crafting influence items is kind of difficult without harvest. So now after the Hope, grabbing that, you can check that out on the POV, more Impale effect. That's why I grab this Axolotl, because of the Impale effect. Also Point Blank, Iron Grip, you go up here as well. My jewels are just crit multi, you need physical damage, leeches lives, mana somewhere. Life crit multi resist, life crit multi resist. And that's about it. And the passive tree, just a standard sword, non-melee build passive tree. Last but not least is the passive tree. You can check out everything here, the POV, I'm sorry. You can check out everything here, my items, you can check out everything that I used throughout the leveling process, and my full DPS at the end, that is 193.6 million, with everything up. So the POV I will link in the description so you can check it out. That's about the tip. I hope you enjoyed, I hope it serves you well, this build guide, and thank you for watching.